with that being said, we are going to jump to the phone lines now. We're going to open these babies up. I'm going to take a caller from the 203 area code by way of 530. 203. This is the Dell Report. You are on. Let's go.
Josh, love the show again. Do want to echo your sentiments here. I do think the Celtics are looking pretty good. I think it's going to be pretty tough to stop them. I was also hoping that we could switch gears a little bit, talk about the Sox, if you wouldn't mind.
Switch the gears, baby.
All right. Well, I want to get your take on what you think the Red Sox are going to be doing. You know, they were coming into the season hoping to shore up the defense, the pitching, and switch gears a little bit. But I think right now they're one of the top run producers in the league, but they also are letting up a lot of runs. So you think they're going to switch gears and kind of go back to their heavy-hitting offense and try and switch up their game plan a little bit?
Well, I tell you what, one of the things that, if you want to take some positives, that I have liked seeing from the Red Sox these past two nights, their ability to rally. I think that's a big characteristic that you need to have in your ball club. And even though Game 1 versus the Yankees 2 nights ago, they ended up falling short, they still made up that deficit. They ended up taking a 9-7 lead. It just happened to go by the wayside in the ninth inning. Papelbon couldn't hang on, and the Yankees ended up winning that game with a Marcus Timms walk-off job. But they showed their resiliency to rally in that game. Then last night, same thing. They're down, I believe, 5-0 before they rallied, and this time they were able to hang on to the game. It did get a little hairy once again. It wasn't Papelbon's fault this time, and this is where I'm going to kind of switch gears to the defensive side of things. Marco Scutaro made a terrible error in that ninth inning, and Scutaro really had a bad game yesterday, where he also had a play. There was a ball where he was playing towards the double play. He was, shading towards the middle, and he made a blunder there as well. So this is a team that's supposed to pride itself in its defense. That's the way they went in the offseason, and I have yet to see it. So Papelbon really beared down tough. He was able to stick it out, get the job done, and they won the game. It's just unfortunate because if the Red Sox were able to win the night before, I think you really have something to build on here. Although, either way, they still got a much-needed W, but they still find themselves at 20-20. Now, you did mention they are scoring runs, and hopefully they can continue that. I would like to think that the pitching is eventually going to start to shore itself up, and it will become consistent, but some of the big problems you're seeing, Josh Beckett is really off to a bad start. He's not looking like the guy we've seen before, although Josh Beckett has been inconsistent, if you want to know something, since he's been in a Red Sox uniform. I mean, you talk about his first year here, he led the American League in giving up home runs. He had that magical second season where he helped engineer a World Series title, and he was very big in responsibility-wise for that. But then he's been a little off and shaky since. We need him to return to form. Dice K, I really don't know what to make of this gentleman anymore. He was great in that Toronto Blue Jays game, but then he has a big showdown with Hughes. We did rally for him, but he got shelled right away, gives up 5 runs in that first inning. So the pitching's a big problem. But my issue is the defense. You had a guy by the name of Alex Gonzalez, who is now with the Toronto Blue Jays, and last time I checked, he has 10 home runs. That's right, count him 10. He's playing great defense. Let me ask you something, caller. Why wouldn't they have kept Gonzalez? He would have cost probably around $3 to $4 million less than Scutaro. He's by far a much better defensive player than Scutaro, and he's a better hitter. It's an all-around win-win. You let this guy go the first time. What do you think they were thinking in the acquisition of Scutaro and letting Gonzalez go? It doesn't make any sense. What's your take on that?
Well, that's a great question because I really don't know what they were thinking. And to be honest with you, I think their whole strategy seems to be a little bit forced. I don't know why they wouldn't go with the guys that could hit, and obviously their defensive acquisitions haven't panned out. Maybe it's because they're playing in Boston, but it doesn't make much sense to me at all. Just the whole strategy.
Not at all. I mean, even Beltre. Beltre's supposed to be a guy, he's said to be one of the best defensive third basemen in the league, and his numbers prove that. But all of a sudden, since he's been here, it's like, okay, is this Edgar Renteria all over again, except now he's playing the hot corner? Like, Beltre is, terrible at third base. I don't know how this guy ever did look good, and I don't really want to hear the players. I don't know if he's been saying this, but I know Renteria used to blame that the Fenway Park infield is not a great infield, which I find hard to believe. I mean, what exactly is wrong with it? It looks pretty nice to me looking at it on TV. And all of a sudden, these guys come here that are supposed to be credible defensive players, and they can't make any plays. Beltre has done a few nice things with the bat, but he's been so bad in the field that it really it kind of washes everything out that he does with the bat and at the plate. So he's been terrible. Scudero's been terrible, and I hate to be so hard on these guys, but no, I'm going to be hard on these guys because you had good players there before. I got to say it again. Gonzalez was very good at shortstop. You had him the first stint a couple years back. You let him go to the Reds. Okay, we had to live with that. Then you picked him up last year. It turned out to be a pretty good move. He ended up hitting great. He loved it here with using the green monster. He seemed to really hit well, and it's not like he's back in the National League putting up inflated numbers. He's in the American League East with the Blue Jays, 10 home runs, and the guy is a wizard in the infield. But I guess we couldn't use him. I guess it was too cheap of a deal to sign him. We needed to go out and spend the extra $5-6 million to bring in Marco Scudero, who I thought would be a good pickup. I still kind of questioned it at the time because you could have saved the money, and it's turned out to be a terrible move. So Theo Epstein, he's made a lot of good moves, but he's really starting to add the bad ones to his list. Now, are the Sox done for the season? I will say this. I like the fact that they're rallying. Like when I first started this conversation off, the rally does show me that they have a little something. If they can show up the pitching, I wouldn't count them out just yet, but the big problem here is, and I've said it before and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, they're in the AL East. This is an unforgiving division. Tampa Bay is off to a ridiculous start. The Yankees aren't going to be going anywhere. And oh, by the way, those Toronto Blue Jays, they're only 3 games behind the Yankees. We're not even in third place, so we're going to have to start playing ball at some point. We can't keep falling back on the old, well, it's early, we'll be okay, right? I mean, we're 20